I think I stumbled into law. I was good at arts subjects at school, and the careers teacher was either very wise or didn't have much imagination in terms of the girls who were good at arts were recommended to study law. I was quite good at public speaking. As I say, I like the art subjects, and I think the careers teacher thought, well, that might be a natural choice for you then. My parents ran a grocery store in a rural town in Northern Ireland. So I think from an early age I was thrust into having firstly contact with the public, and secondly quite a lot of experience of money and dealing with people. Probably from too young an age, I would always say that, but that was a great groundwork for me. It was a family small store. My father ran it. My mum also worked in it. I have one brother. We worked in it. It was a family enterprise. And I think it set me up for being able to interact with the public. The shop was a bit more than just somewhere you bought things. It was a social centre. And I think it reacted to all of the sorts of things, both troubled things and good things that were going on in the community, because that was my formative years. I was born in 1971, so I was there until I went to university for 18 years or so. And so it taught me a lot about things, as I say, good and bad. I was aware of the troubles, but I think it would be wrong of me to say that I was particularly affected because of where I lived. It's that sort of thing that passes you by in a way, and it's only now when I'm older and I'm actually dealing with legal cases that are relating to the troubles that I'm thinking more about it. Because I lived in a relatively stable community, you become anaesthetised, I think, as well to what's going on out and about. And whilst I suppose looking in, lots of people might think life was a constant strain, I think it was for lots of people. Lots of people were extremely wounded and hurt by what was going on. I think starting out in the profession, the problem for me was there weren't very many women. In my bar class, there were 16 men and 4 women. And when I came to the bar, there weren't so many women as there are now. I think it's now probably 50-50, if not more. And so it was clearly a male-dominated world. I specialised in family law, which I have to say was a great platform for me in very many respects. Coinciding with my call to the bar, or shortly after, the Children Order came into force in Northern Ireland, and that was a new piece of dynamic legislation, and I think the young practitioners were willing to take it up and argue the points under it. Because of that, I was lucky, because from an early age I was in the High Court, I was in the Court of Appeal, I got to the House of Lords in relation to family law matters. So there is a very sturdy tradition of academic debate in family law that people, I think, forget about. So it gave me that, but it also gave me a skill set, I think, that has been of great value to me now. And that is in relation to the people that you have to work with and the difficulties that people have, because you see that in your practice. The day of taking silk was nerve-wracking because it goes in order of seniority, the silk. So there were 20 silks and I was last. So I was very nervous about that. And my family were here, my mother, father, brother, nephew, husband, who's a barrister, who I think was having difficulty extracting himself from another court to get over for the call ceremony. It was a particularly important day. Very important for my parents to have that. It's very important as a mark of excellence, I think. And I also think it was an incredible boost for the family division in Northern Ireland, because it was a recognition that someone from that division could reach that height and get that mark. I remained in family law, but I did some other work in judicial review and some criminal work, but I still remain mostly in family law. And I suppose that's one issue I think I probably had whilst at the senior bar, that I wasn't given work in other areas, whereas as a judge I'm now doing work in many other areas. So I do think that's one point I would make about women at the bar. I had 9 years at the senior bar, and I had, I think, achieved all I wanted to achieve, certainly in the family end. Getting to the Supreme Court to argue a case, having done the cases in all the various aspects of family law, I wanted another challenge. And as I said to you, I wasn't getting enough briefs, I thought, in different areas. So I again decided, I thought about it a lot because again the timing may not have been right in terms of my stage, but I thought I would give it a go. If you're not in, you can't win, so I did give it a go, yeah. So October 2015, I was one of the first 2 women to be appointed in Northern Ireland to the High Court bench, and that was quite an event. The effect of it within the legal community was quite marked in terms of how it bolstered women within the legal profession, both solicitors and bar, and young people. But I actually think I was taken aback by the community reaction in terms of people in the community thinking, well, first of all, they maybe weren't so aware of it, but being complimentary that in fact the judiciary now represented to a greater extent the makeup of the community and how important that was. Obviously, you have an appreciation of the general issues in Northern Ireland with the Troubles, and judges were targets during the Troubles in particular, and 5 judges lost their lives during the Troubles. So you have that in your mind, and you also have in your mind not just yourself, I think, but your family. So it's a very different world to step into because you have protection from police when you start your job and during your time as a judge. And that's something that's totally alien to me in terms of where I came up, lived, and also through my legal career. And it is, whilst I didn't have a full appreciation of the Troubles, the other issue now in Northern Ireland is that we're dealing with the legacy of the Troubles through various forms of litigation in the civil courts mostly and in the coroner's courts. And I'm actually dealing with that myself, so I'm dealing with cases that relate to events when I was a child or just when I was born, which I think brings home what a different environment it is here. But fundamentally, when you look back at legacy litigation, you realise how many people were killed, over 3,000 people were killed during the Troubles, and how nebulous the issues are in terms of people needing to know what happened to loved ones for a variety of different reasons and in different environments. And that continues to be a very difficult issue that we, as modern judges, if I say that, we're not judges sitting in the Troubles, but we're dealing with those issues after the event because they haven't gone away and people want some answers to that. I think that you're back to this issue of the judiciary should represent the entire community, so we're very keen to make sure that it does represent the entire community in Northern Ireland. And if it doesn't, it's back to the community has to have confidence in the judiciary. It's like everything else. And so we're aware of that and understand that. But ultimately we're independent office holders, so we're appointed on the basis of our legal careers and the portfolio that we put across in terms of lawmaking and dealing with legal problems.